Listen, my friends, life is just like politics, like business, like bodybuilding. It's all about challenges. When the weight is heavy, when the opponent looks bigger, that's the exact moment you grow stronger. Right now, we see Prime Minister Modi standing up against the US after a new tariff threat. Some people see this as conflict, I see it as power. Because champions are not made by avoiding resistance, they are made by pushing through it. Just like I didn't become Mr. Olympia by lifting light weights, nations don't rise by backing down from pressure. This moment is about courage, about standing tall, about showing the world that no matter how big the challenge is, if you have the vision, the strength, and the will, you can overcome it. Remember, the struggle is where the strength is built. And this is India's set on the global stage. Now let's talk about what this challenge really means. Challenges are the fuel of greatness, and the truth is, without them, no one ever becomes extraordinary. When we look at history, when we look at the champions of the world, whether in sports, politics, or life, every single one of them was defined not by their comfort, but by their struggles. If you walk into a gym and you pick up the lightest weight and you do it every day, you will never grow, you will never build strength, and you will never transform yourself. The body only grows when it is forced to adapt, when the weight feels heavy, when the resistance seems impossible. And that is exactly what challenges represent in life. They are the resistance we need to push against if we want to discover our true potential. Without them, we remain weak, untested, and ordinary. With them, we become unbreakable, we learn our limits, and most importantly, we learn how to break through those limits. Think about the moments when people felt the odds were too high, when the opponent was too strong, when the situation seemed unfair. Those are the moments that created legends. A challenge is not there to stop you, it is there to reveal you. It's like standing in front of a mountain. You can either look at it and say, it's too high, it's impossible, or you can take your first step and begin climbing. Every step makes you stronger. Every struggle makes you wiser, and every time you refuse to quit, you create a new version of yourself that is tougher than before. Challenges are not punishments, they are invitations to greatness. They are signals from life saying, this is your chance to prove what you're made of. And when a leader, a nation, or an individual accepts that invitation, they rise above fear and step into strength. When Prime Minister Modi stands against a superpower like the United States after a tariff threat, it is not just a political move, it is a demonstration of this universal truth. The greater the challenge, the greater the growth. Just as a bodybuilder does not avoid heavy weights, but embraces them because he knows that is how muscle is built, a nation must embrace pressure because that is how resilience is formed. The resistance may feel overwhelming, the weight may feel unbearable, but that is exactly what creates transformation. It's never the easy times that define you, it's the battles you choose to fight, and the courage you show in the heat of that battle. When others doubt you, when the world expects you to fold, and you still stand tall, that is when you show the true measure of your strength. Every challenge carries within it a hidden gift. It forces you to sharpen your skills, to harden your will, and to expand your vision. If you look at the most successful people in the world, you will see that their journey was never smooth. They faced failures, betrayals, setbacks, and obstacles that would break most people. But instead of seeing those as reasons to stop, they treated them as stepping stones to move higher. It's the same with nations. The more pressure they face, the more innovative they become, the more united they become, and the more determined they become to carve out their own destiny. Without challenges, people remain asleep. With challenges, they wake up and realize their true power. It's easy to talk about strength when everything is going well, but true strength is revealed when the storm hits. Just like steel is forged in fire, human character is forged in difficulty. And that is why challenges are opportunities in disguise. They are the fire that burns away weakness and shapes the core of who we are. If you shy away from them, if you hide from them, you deny yourself the chance to grow. But if you embrace them, if you lean into them with courage, you discover abilities you never thought you had. You realize that the limits you believed in were just illusions, and the only real barrier was the fear in your mind. When you rise against challenges, you are not just fighting an opponent, you are fighting your own doubts, your own fears, and your own limitations. That victory is greater than any medal, any title, or any reward. True leadership is tested when pressure is at its highest, and this is a principle that applies in every aspect of life. When everything is easy, when the path is smooth, anyone can appear confident, anyone can pretend to be strong, anyone can look like they know what they are doing. But leadership is not about the calm seas, it is about the storms. It is about those moments when the pressure is so high that people are looking for someone to guide them, someone to stand firm when others are ready to collapse. In those moments, the mask of pretenders falls away and the true leaders are revealed. They do not run, they do not complain, they do not make excuses. They step forward, they take the weight upon their shoulders, and they set the example that others can follow. That is when we see the difference between someone who merely has authority and someone who truly has leadership. Leadership under pressure requires courage, but not the kind of courage that is loud or reckless. It is the courage of clarity, the ability to see through fear and chaos and make decisions that others are too afraid to make. When pressure rises, most people panic, and panic clouds judgment. A leader, on the other hand, thrives under that pressure. They know that these are the very moments that define their legacy. Just like a diamond is formed under extreme pressure, so too is true leadership shaped under difficult circumstances. Without that test, leadership remains unproven, just like strength in the gym remains unproven if the weights are never lifted. Pressure is not the enemy of leadership, it is the stage where leadership is proven. Think about any great figure in history, whether in politics, business, or personal life. They all faced moments of extreme difficulty, times when the odds were stacked against them, times when it would have been easier to quit, to compromise, or to simply back down. But what set them apart was their ability to rise higher when the pressure was at its peak. They remained calm when others were fearful. They made bold moves when others froze, and they inspired belief when others were ready to surrender. That is the essence of true leadership. It is not about being perfect. It is not about never making mistakes. It is about having the strength and the vision to keep moving forward, even when the world is pressing against you with full force. When a leader like Prime Minister Modi challenges a superpower such as the United States in the face of a tariff threat, he is not just engaging in a political confrontation. He is stepping into the kind of pressure where true leadership is revealed. This is the weight of responsibility that does not allow retreat, the moment when every decision is scrutinized and every move is watched. It is in such circumstances that leaders show whether they are made of glass or made of steel. Under pressure, the weak crack, but the strong become even stronger. Leadership is not measured by how you act when things are comfortable. It is measured by how you hold yourself when everything around you seems ready to collapse. Pressure has a way of magnifying everything. It makes fear seem larger, but it also makes courage shine brighter. A leader under pressure becomes a mirror for the people they lead. If they show fear, the people will crumble. If they show strength, the people will rise. This is why true leadership is such a heavy responsibility. It is not about words, it is about energy, presence, and example. People don't just listen to what leaders say under pressure, they feel what leaders embody under pressure. And that feeling can either spread fear or ignite courage. That is why the strongest leaders are remembered not for their comfort, but for their ability to inspire confidence in the middle of chaos. In life, whether you are leading a country, a business, a team, or even just yourself, you must remember that pressure is inevitable. There will always be moments when the weight feels unbearable, when the challenges seem too great, when you are tempted to break. But those moments are not there to destroy you, they are there to reveal you. They are the crucible that separates those who pretend from those who are real. The world is full of people who can talk about leadership, but only pressure shows who actually has it. And once you prove yourself in those moments, once you show that you can handle the fire, you gain a strength and respect that no one can ever take away from you. Standing tall against giants inspires nations to believe in themselves. because courage is contagious, and the sight of someone refusing to bow down ignites strength in the hearts of those who watch. When an individual stands in front of something bigger, stronger, and seemingly unstoppable, the natural expectation is surrender. People expect compromise, they expect retreat, they expect submission. But when instead that person stands tall, unshaken, unbroken, and unwilling to bend, a powerful shift happens in the minds of everyone watching. Suddenly, what looked impossible starts to feel possible. What seemed out of reach begins to feel within grasp. This is why leadership and courage are not just personal choices, they are acts that ripple through entire nations, giving people the belief that they too can rise against overwhelming odds. History is filled with examples where the courage of one inspired the strength of millions. Think about the moments when nations were under threat, when the enemy seemed too great, and when the future looked uncertain. It was not weapons alone, not resources alone, and not strategy alone that turned the tide. It was belief. Belief that came from seeing someone who stood tall when it would have been easier to kneel. That belief transforms ordinary people into warriors. It turns fear into determination, and it turns weakness into resilience. When giants stand before you, their power is meant to intimidate, but when you do not flinch, you reveal that even giants can be challenged. That revelation plants a seed in the minds of everyone else who witnesses it, a seed that grows into confidence and courage. When Prime Minister Modi challenges the United States after a tariff threat, it is not simply a matter of politics or economics. It is about perception, about morale, about sending a message not just to the world, but to his own people. When a leader shows that they will not bow to pressure, it tells the citizens that they too must not bow to the difficulties in their own lives. It sends a signal that strength is not measured by size alone, but by will, and that even when facing something greater, standing tall is the path to honor. Nations are not only held together by laws or borders, they are held together by belief in their identity, belief in their future, and belief in their ability to rise. And that belief grows when they see their leader embodying it with courage. The image of standing tall against giants resonates deeply because it is universal. Every individual, no matter who they are, faces their own giants in life. For some, it is poverty. For others, it is failure, fear, rejection, or loss. These giants loom over them, casting shadows of doubt, making them feel small and powerless. And yet, when they witness someone, whether a leader, an athlete, or even a neighbor, refuse to give in to their own giant, it sparks something powerful inside. It makes them think, if they can do it, maybe I can too. That is the beauty of courage. It does not remain locked inside the one who possesses it. It spreads like fire, igniting hope in everyone it touches. Standing tall is not just about resistance, it is about identity. It is a declaration that says, we will not be defined by fear, we will not be diminished by pressure, and we will not accept weakness as our destiny. When people see that spirit alive in their leader, they begin to carry it in themselves. They begin to rise taller in their own battles, whether those battles are personal struggles, societal challenges, or national obstacles. This collective rise creates a wave of strength that can transform not just individuals, but entire communities and nations. A people who believe in themselves are unstoppable because their spirit cannot be conquered, even if their circumstances are difficult. The world respects those who stand tall, not those who bow easily. Giants are always testing the resolve of those smaller than them, and every time someone stands firm, the balance of power shifts. The giant realizes it cannot simply dominate by size alone, and the smaller one realizes that strength is not about height or weight, but about spirit and determination. That is why standing tall against giants is such a powerful act. It teaches both sides a lesson. It teaches the giant that respect must be earned, and it teaches the smaller side that courage can level the playing field. This lesson is eternal, and every generation learns it through the examples set by their leaders and heroes. For a nation like India, seeing its leader stand tall in the face of a giant like the United States plants an unshakable belief in the hearts of its people. It tells them that they too can stand tall in their personal challenges, that they too can carry the same spirit into their lives. This is how nations rise, not just through economics or policies, but through courage that inspires belief. because once people believe in themselves, they cannot be controlled by fear anymore. Once they see that giants can be faced, they begin to realize that they too are capable of greatness. And when that belief spreads across a nation, no challenge is too big, no obstacle too high, and no enemy too strong, because the people themselves have become unbreakable in spirit. Power is built by facing resistance, never by avoiding it, and this truth applies to every aspect of life. The very nature of growth demands struggle. Muscles do not grow when they are left unused. They grow when they are pushed, stretched, and tested to their limits. Strength is not created in comfort, it is created in resistance. The same principle applies to nations, to leaders, to individuals, to anyone who dreams of becoming more than what they are today. The path to power is not paved with ease, it is paved with challenges. Those who try to avoid resistance remain stagnant, weak, and unprepared. But those who lean into it, who embrace the struggle, who see resistance not as an enemy, but as a teacher, they discover levels of power they never imagined they could possess. Resistance is life's way of asking you, how badly do you want it? Every obstacle, every challenge, every difficulty is like a wall standing in front of your goals. Most people, when they face that wall, turn around and look for a shortcut. They want the easy path, the path without pain, the path without effort. But the reality is, there is no strength in avoiding the wall. The strength is built when you climb it, when you break it down, when you refuse to stop until you are on the other side. That act of confrontation, of pushing against resistance, is where true power is born. Without it, you may have comfort, but you will never have greatness. Look at any powerful leader, athlete, or visionary, and you will see a pattern. They faced enormous resistance. They were doubted, they were criticized, they were underestimated, and they were challenged at every step of the way. And yet, instead of avoiding those difficulties, they embraced them. They allowed resistance to sharpen them, to harden them, to prepare them for the greater battles ahead. Power is not given, it is earned through the fight. And that fight always comes with resistance. If you avoid the fight, you avoid the power. If you face the fight, you claim the power that comes with it. When Prime Minister Modi challenges the tariff threats from the United States, it is a demonstration of this principle on a global stage. It is not about choosing an easy route, it is about choosing the harder path because it builds strength. Standing up to resistance is how nations grow stronger, how they earn respect, and how they create a future of independence and resilience. By facing resistance, a nation builds the ability to endure, to adapt, and to thrive even when the world tries to push it down. Avoiding resistance might bring temporary peace, but it weakens the spirit. Facing resistance, even when it is painful, forges a power that lasts for generations. Resistance is not only external, it is also internal. Every individual faces resistance from within, the doubts, the fears, the voices that say, "You can't do it," or "It's too hard." Internal resistance is often the most dangerous because it convinces people to quit before they even try. But the process of pushing against those inner voices, of silencing the doubts and choosing action over hesitation, is what builds the kind of inner power that no one can take away. Every time you choose to act in the face of fear, you grow stronger. Every time you choose to move forward despite difficulty, you expand your capacity. And over time, this repeated act of facing resistance creates unshakable confidence, the kind of confidence that can carry you through any battle, no matter how great. The beauty of resistance is that it transforms weakness into strength. A beginner in the gym struggles to lift what seems like an impossible weight. But by showing up again and again, by facing the resistance, that same weight that once seemed unbearable eventually becomes easy. This is the power of persistence against resistance. The same principle applies in life. The challenges that feel overwhelming today will feel manageable tomorrow if you refuse to avoid them. The only way you reach that level is by meeting resistance head-on, again and again, until it no longer intimidates you. What once seemed impossible becomes a warm-up, and you realize that the limits you once believed in were illusions. On the larger scale of nations and leaders, resistance is what builds identity. Countries that have faced struggles and hardships often emerge stronger, more united, and more determined than ever before. Resistance forces them to innovate, to become self-reliant, to discover strengths they never knew they had. It strips away complacency and replaces it with resilience. And resilience is the foundation of lasting power. A nation that avoids resistance may enjoy short-term comfort, but when real challenges arrive, it collapses. A nation that embraces resistance becomes unbreakable because it has already been tested and it has already proven that it can survive and thrive in difficulty. Power built through resistance is power that lasts. It is not shallow, it is not fragile, and it is not temporary. It is deep-rooted and unstoppable because it has been tested against pressure and proven itself. This is why resistance is a gift, even though it rarely feels like one. It forces growth, it forces strength, and it forces transformation. Without it, you stay the same. With it, you rise to new heights. Those who understand this truth stop fearing resistance. They stop running from it. Instead, they seek it, they embrace it, they use it as the training ground to build the kind of power that cannot be shaken by any force in the world. Greatness is never built in comfort. It is forged in the fire of challenges, in the pressure of resistance, and in the courage to stand tall when giants surround you. What we have seen is that true leadership is revealed when the weight is heaviest, that nations find their identity when they refuse to bow, and that individuals discover their strength when they confront the obstacles in front of them. Every struggle is an opportunity, every resistance is a gift, and every challenge is a chance to rise higher than before. Just as the body grows stronger by lifting heavier weights, so too do people and nations grow stronger by carrying the burdens that test them. If we embrace this truth, if we stop fearing the resistance and instead welcome it, there is no limit to the power we can build and no boundary to the heights we can reach.